Emergency Podcast Alert. Spokane Chiefs Central Emergency Podcast.
All right, emergency podcast. I know
Emergency podcast.
I know it was news from yesterday, but we both worked all day yesterday, so we couldn't get around to it. So we're getting to it today.
Yes, we are.
With the big news that we were kind of all expecting toward the end of the season. And then once, we got about a month and a half into the off season, thinking like, I don't know, man. Like I think we might have to stick with what we got. And the
Yeah.
news came out yesterday morning that the Chiefs part ways with Ryan Smith, head coach, as well as Dustin Donahue too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Kind of a shock. I was just finishing a stop at work and just quickly grabbed my phone and pulled up Facebook, and it was the first thing I saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I called you immediately.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So it kind of, I feel like it kind of came out of the blue. Like I almost feel like it was strange timing just based off of, he just won the gold medal with U18 Canada.
Yeah.
And stuff like that too. But I think it's time. I think it was time to take the team in a different direction based off of kind of how things have been going the last few years. I don't think he's a bad coach by any means.
No, I don't either, obviously.
But because we've definitely had much worse. I mean, when we had Maglio as the coach and Smith was the assistant, and Maglio got fired, early February. Smith kind of turned the team around that season, and we ended up making the playoffs. So you got to give him a little bit of credit there, but I think that, like I said, it's time to go to take a different direction with the talent that we have coming in, and then the talent that we have for another year or two as well.
Yeah, I agree. I talked to not only an ex-Chief from way back when, but an ex-hockey player in general yesterday too. And we talked about, even when you're a good coach, sometimes you just can't motivate the players. And we've seen it in past teams too, when you get a couple of players that really don't feel like they want to play for a certain coach too, that kind of bleeds down through the whole team and stuff too. And, at that point, you can't do anything to motivate the team. We talked about that a little bit, and also talked about the fact that him being as successful as he was, obviously, I mean, yeah, you're putting all-star teams together that he's coaching when he takes these teams on things and stuff too. But obviously, he's very good at coaching in that regard too. So you end up firing a coach that's had that kind of success without really giving an explanation. I don't know what that shows anybody else that might want to apply for the job. What they would think too, because it's like, why do I want to go to a team that does that kind of stuff? So it'd be interesting to see. Maybe there's somebody already lined up and in mind, or I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bardsley had been like looking, and this is the time of year where coaches will tend to, leave a team to take another job as a head coach, like an assistant coach in like the AHL, for example, take the job as a head coach in a junior league or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've even seen coaches go from coaching in the NHL back to being a coach in the Western League too.
Right.
I mean, look at Mike Johnston with the Penguins a couple years back, and went back to Portland, and Don Knockbar's done it. I actually read something yesterday. It was this morning, actually. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if it was true or not, but somebody said that they saw Dave Hackstall at the Spokane airport this morning. I don't know if he was just, kind of BSing or what, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind, who just got let go from the Kraken. It would be kind of interesting to see. I don't think that would be something that he would do. That's a pretty big step down from a head coaching job in the NHL to the WHL. But like I said, we've seen it before. So
Yeah, well, maybe he was just coming to golf with Yami.
yeah, very well could be. Speaking of which, are you watching this Carolina New York game?
Yes.
Did you
that
see
save
that
right there?
save that guy just
Yeah.
made? That was incredible.
That was not the goalie that made that save either.
No, I honestly thought watching that in real time that puck crossed the line, but then it showed that replay and it didn't.
I don't even think it got quite to the line, did it?
That was it did. That was a great save.
Oh, it did. Oh, wow. That couldn't have been any closer to going all the way across.
That was incredible.
That's bananas.
As
he's on his chest sliding back too. Wow, that was crazy.
Oh my God, Martinook, unreal. The Canes are showing some resiliency here.
Yes, they are.
But yeah, I mean, Dave Hackstall is kind of somebody. I guess you could keep it in the back of your mind. You never know. Never say
Who
never.
knows?
Maybe he liked the state of Washington. Maybe he wants to stay in the state of Washington.
Who knows?
I've also heard.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
We were also talking about it. This was my idea. I think we need another name guy there too.
Absolutely.
It's time to get somebody with some, the people know and recognize a little bit too, including the players.
Yeah,
to a degree 100%. Too. Going to bring some wisdom and some knowledge in. The players are going to believe in too. I mean, we obviously have had those in the past. Danny Lambert, and he doesn't last very long because he was so successful at things and gets moved up. And
Manny Viveiros too.
And we need that. We need guys like that again too.
I agree completely.
And we've gotten away from that because we lost those guys, and I think we were just kind of left scrambling trying to find somebody, and that's why we got Maglio. And
yeah, anyway. For sure. No, you're completely right. And I just think of another name that went from NHL coaching back to the junior coaching, and I mean, obviously it was different circumstances, but Bill Peters.
Yeah,
I mean, former Chiefs coach, won us the Memorial Cup in 07, 08, and then went to be a head coach with. He was like the assistant in Carolina, and he was also the head coach at Calgary, and now he's back with Lethbridge. So I mean, there's another name right there.
Yeah.
I also saw something.
It's time for a bigger name.
Yeah, absolutely. I also read something the other day. People are just kind of speculating names. I haven't seen a ton, but I've seen a couple. And guy Kurt Frazier is one of them that I've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that name at all.
I don't.
But apparently he's a former hockey player, played for Vancouver, Chicago, Minnesota in the NHL in the late 70s to late 80s. And he's been a coach, all throughout the ranks. I mean, in the late 90s, he was in the IHL, which is essentially like the AHL now. He's head coach of the Atlanta Thrashers, the assistant coach of St. Louis and the Islanders, assistant coach for Dallas up until the 27-18 season. And then after that, he was the head coach of that Red Star team over in Canada or in China.
Oh, wow.
That like basically took all their players to the Olympics in China a few years ago. And then now he's assistant coach in the German professional league. So that seems, I guess that's a name that I've seen thrown around a couple times. I don't really know how he would have any connection to like the league or anything. He never played in the league. He's from the East Coast of the United States, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bardsley brought in somebody from his past in Portland or Kamloops either.
Me too.
The part of me is kind of expecting that. Part of me is kind of thinking that, with Kamloops kind of rebuilding a little bit too, maybe he'll try to sneak in and get one of those guys up there now even.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I understand what you were saying about, why would somebody want to come here if you're going to get tossed with no explanation, stuff like that too. But I mean, you got to look at the young talent that the Chiefs have and the talent that we have coming in too. I mean, we got Mathis Preston coming in for a full season this year, Brody Gillespie, Caden Allen, and we got Catton obviously for another year as well. So, I mean, I think Bardsley's taking that first step in building for the future, like officially building for this next season.
It's not, I think it's just almost like a total revamp.
Oh, completely. Yeah. And we said earlier that, Donnie didn't get his contract renewed either. But the Stefan Legion did. That was a guy that Bardsley brought in himself when he took the job as the GM. So that definitely kind of shows you right there that he's looking for his own guys and not guys that were in the organization previously and stuff too. Yeah. But it's going to be a kind of interesting decision, see like when the decision is made. And after that, you know, like what's going to happen after that, after we decide who's going to be our new head coach. What are we going to do with the team? I mean, we still have 6 guys that are going to be in their 20-year-old season this year. So we got to get rid of, you know, half of them. And
I bet you we know by the end of the month.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. Like I said, I'm sure that he's already kind of got a guy in the back of. I'm sure he's already interviewed guys.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
sure. I wouldn't be shocked at all. And I'm really, anxious and curious to see who it's going to be.
Yeah.
And who else they're going to bring in for like an assistant too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like this is probably the first time in 4 or 5 years that I've been like really, really excited to see what the team's going to do this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
we're tired of more of the same.
Talent aside, it's like ever since the 1920 season, the COVID year, I mean, we had Manny behind the bench stuff too. It's like we haven't had a solid named coach.
No.
And so I'm just kind of hoping that with Bardsley's experience in Kamloops and Portland and kind of everything that he's done. I mean, he was even a scout for the Flyers for a few years. So maybe he'll look toward that organization. That also just kind of, when I said that, brought that into my head. Dave Hackstall used to be the coach of the Flyers, and he was an assistant there for a long time too. So I don't know.
Maybe that's why he would be in town to talk to them about some people he has knowledge of in the Flyer organization.
That's very true too. I'm just speculating, just kind of spewing.
We are, but that's why we do podcasts.
Exactly. That's our job. We're the rumor boys.
We speculated that the Chiefs would make a coaching change too, and look what happens here.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously we're not the only ones that speculated that. And we're obviously not the only ones that are kind of thinking that this is a positive outcome. Yes. You know, reading these comments in the Chiefs group on Facebook, the fan group guy says, I don't think he was a bad coach, but the search is on for the new coach before the season starts. He says, I agree, but he's a good coach, but he's not the guy to take the team to the next level. And I think that's probably spot on.
Yeah.
Change had to happen, but kind of maybe hoping that once we get a guy we can get a guy in here that'll kind of give the team a little bit more identity earlier in the season too.
Yeah.
Kind of give us a little bit more success early on, as opposed to just kind of late in the year when you're already kind of out of it, or, you know, just barely squeezing into the postseason and stuff too. Mm-hmm. So another guy says, you know, it makes you think that Legion's going to become the head coach. And I said, I think he would be a better head coach than Smith personally, but I said, I think we need to bring somebody in from the outside.
Yeah, I don't see us doing more of the same and just moving assistants up to being head coaches.
I don't either. And like I said, I really like Legion, so I am really glad that we're keeping him around too, because I think the players like him too.
Yes.
He shows a little bit more passion on the bench than Smith did, for sure. And I think that's a lot of what these kids need to kind of get them fired up. I mean, even in the pro ranks, you see that with the other night watching the Florida Boston game. Paul Maurice is on the bench screaming at his guys, and then next shift they go out and score a goal.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's little things like that can change the outcome of a game too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how it happens. See what ends up happening with it.
I'm curious to see too.
Matt Bardsley said it was a difficult decision to part ways with Ryan. He's a quality person who's been instrumental in laying the foundation for us to have success while building a strong culture, but we felt it was necessary to move in a different direction. We thank Ryan and his family for all they've done for the Chiefs organization and wish him all the best going forward. You know, he spent 2 full seasons as the Chiefs full-time head coach after taking over as interim in February of 21-22. And then 126 regular season games and 8 playoff games as the head coach. The Chiefs will also not renew assistant coach Dustin Donaghy's contract. Dustin is a passionate young coach and a proud alumni. We thank him for his 2 years with the team and wish him well going forward. And then current associate coach Stefan Legion will return for the 24-25 season. So it says the organization's search for a new head coach will begin immediately. And like I said, like we were sitting here speculating, it's like I feel like they probably already got 2 or 3 guys kind of lined up that they're really looking at. And like you said, I think we'll probably get a decision by the end of the month.
Yes, 2 weeks is not very long.
Yeah, but then again, we still got 2 months until training camp. So
yeah,
either way, we'll figure it out by then. But yeah,
interesting news. Emergency podcast.
Yeah, I guess we kind of had to get it done because this is kind of the news that we were looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, we'll see what news comes out next, I guess.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll also mention that Portland got swept by Moose Jaw last night in the WHL finals.
Moose Jaw looked good in the finals. Holy cow.
Yeah, they did. But I got to be honest with you. I think they're going to get smoked in the Memorial Cup because I don't know if you followed any of the other finals from any of the other leagues. Every single series final was a sweep.
I did see that.
Did you see the London Knights, what they've been doing?
No.
They dismantled whoever they were playing in the finals. Like, I'm going to look this up really quick because it blew my mind last night. I watched highlights from their game 4 and they just looked like they were skating wheels around these guys. Let me look at this because I know they won game 4 last night, like 7-1. And then they have that Easton Cowan on their team. He's like a pretty highly touted guy. Oliver Bonk is another one. Let's see if I can find the here we go. Yeah, 7-1, 7-6, 9-1, and 8-1.
Holy cow.
In the 4 games against Oshawa in the OHL finals. They won the first game 8-1, second game 9-1, 7-6 game 3, and 7-1 game 4.
Dream to Christmas.
That is insane.
That's outscoring your opponent big time.
Yeah, absolutely. They just looked like they were skating wheels around them too. So
wow.
First Memorial Cup in the United States and since Spokane 98.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's kind of exciting though. It kind of makes you think that some doors are opening up for some of these teams too.
Yeah.
So, or for some of these organizations in the U.S. getting possibly the chance to make a bid toward hosting.
I have a feeling. I also have heard a rumor that Spokane's hoping to maybe get it in the next couple of years. And that's another that as well. That's another reason for the coaching change is to try to get something going and make it look a little bit better.
Well, and they're closing the arena down for a few months to do some remodeling and stuff too.
Kind of wonder.
I believe they're putting in more seats.
They are putting in a few more seats, like just not very many, but
yeah, but still, I mean, it's just little things out. Don't you just love speculating though?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
All right. Well, I guess we can wrap this up until the next big news.
All right.
But
thanks for doing this one, and go Chiefs, go.
Go Chiefs, go.